Welcome to Viper Miner channel. I wanted to do a vlog today, something a little different, and I wanted to talk about what I'm going to do come day one of proof of stake for ETH. There's a lot of talk about whether it's going to be in June, July, or next year, or at the end of the year. And there's arguments for both sides, right? So after looking through everything and going through their conference call or chat, Zoom, it does seem like there's a lot more testing and proving to their customers, their clients, the guys who have contracts, the companies who have contracts, NFTs, all that stuff that's on this chain, all have to have kind of consensus and buy-in. So I don't see how they're going to do that come June. I mean, it is March 24th of 2022 right now. So how do you get that crammed into basically April, May, and then even if they did it at the end of June, I'm not quite sure that that's even a realistic date any longer. And they're going to have to, before June, they're going to have to come up and determine this because of the difficulty bomb that's coming. So what do we look at? So I think they can probably maybe get done by October. And if they can set a date, September, October, then you're probably looking at proof of stake at that point. Any later than that will probably be pushed even further out because they're not going to want to do this around the holidays, right? So just like last year when they pushed to June because they didn't want to do it around the holidays, we kind of knew they weren't ready at that point. And this is not an easy task they're taking on, right? This is very huge. I think even Bits by Trippin even suggested, or somebody did, maybe even forking it to where there's a proof of work and there's proof of stake. I don't know. That's beyond my knowledge. However, I'm looking at what can I mine profitably from between now and to then and then afterwards, right? So my game plan come day one is to switch over to something like NiceHash, right? That does profit switching, pays you out in Bitcoin. There's a couple other places that you can go do that at, right? You can do that right now with two miners actually as well. You can mine ETH, but I don't know what are you gonna mine that at that point. So will they switch that over to say ETC? But I do have a small problem with two miners. Although I've never heard of a problem, I think you're inviting some more possible disaster happening or something that could go wrong. Because when you use two miners, you're mining your rigs are going to mine ETH, and then whenever your payout is, if it's 24 hours, whatever you're going to set for, then it turns around and sends that to an exchange. You pay the exchange fees. You turn around, they exchange it. They get confirmation of the exchange. They send it back to two miners. Two miners then takes that and sends it back to your Bitcoin wallet. So the whole process can take anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours on a normal transaction period of time. There's other options out there, like the rigs that I have that are running on ETH are mining to Ethermine, and I use the Polygon subnet to go and get paid out in wrapped ETH. And the beauty of that is that gets directly pushed into my MetaMask wallet, and I can hold that there for as long as I want. And then if I decide, hey, okay, it's time to go pay my electric bill, or hey, I want to go take my wife out to a nice dinner, I can then send that to Crypto.com. Crypto.com is one of the few, I think there's only two, and one that we can use as US. I know for sure Crypto.com, so I'm using now. And then so what you do is you send that over to your ETH wallet there. However, you have to make sure it's set to ETH Polygon chains. This way you get paid in the ramp. And then from that point forward, it acts like ETH. I can exchange it to any other coin I want that's on their exchange, or I can sell it and bring it into my fiat wallet as well, and then go pay my bills. So it works out really, really nice. I like that because it's simple, easy, and I'm in control of the coins the entire way. It's being mined directly into my MetaMask. Then I control and send it to crypto.com. And at that point, now granted I don't own my keys in there, but it is crypto.com, but it doesn't stay long. I don't keep the bulk of my cryptocurrency in crypto.com. It's usually in cold storage. Okay, and I can even, at that point, I can switch in MetaMask to ETH or any other coin and send that to my Trezor or my Ledger, whoever I want to send that to as a hardware wallet as well. So it works out really nice. I don't know if they're going to do anything like that come when ETH goes to proof of stake for like ETC or Ergo or somebody, Ethermine. I think it's Ergo, Flightpost, Ravencoin, ETC, Zen, Zeek, it's ZEC, or Zelco, or whatever that is. Anyway, so there's more coins there that I don't mess around with. But that's kind of what my day one thing is. Now, leading up to that, what am I doing? That's just as important to know what you're going to do to proof of stake, at least in my eyes, not investment advice, that's make your own decisions, but what am I doing up to proof of stake? So you read a lot of these comments and these blogs and stuff like that, and they say, oh, I can get X hash on Ravencoin, I can get X hash on Ergo, pick a coin, and this is how much I'm making. Okay, so the X hash of what your card is going to hash, that's accurate, right? Today and tomorrow, or after post ETH going to proof of stake. However, what you're making today is nowhere near what you're going to be making at that point in time, because all this other hash power is going to go somewhere. So your ability, so let's say 80% of it goes to Flux. Well, what you can make in Flux now is a lot different than when you can make in Flux then, because there's going to be a lot more competition, a lot more miners on that. So what do you do to prepare? Well, right now, no one knows. I mean, I can't tell you the future. And if you could find somebody who could tell me the future for sure, 100%, I'd like to have a long conversation with them. I'll buy them dinner at Morton's. But what is it that you're going to, at least what I'm going to do is I am going to look at the landscape and I say, okay, who can handle this, right? So the most obvious is ETC, right? Because right now you either have, and no one knows what the mix is. Everybody guesses what the mix is. I mean, I've heard from 50% to 80%, all different mixes. How much of it is ASIC and how much is it GPU, right? I suspect there's probably more GPU at times because you have the gamers or you have people, hey, I'm gonna run a little bit today on my card, and I got 1 or 2 cards in my gaming rig, and I'll run through the night, until I go do my work or play a game again. But I suspect those ASICs, I mean, that's a lot of money, and they are still selling ASICs left and right. You can't get hold of them, right? I mean, they're going to have to go somewhere. They're going to go to ETC. That's the only place they can go right now, right? Unless somebody comes up with a whole new coin and chain that's on that same algorithm. Even though ETC algorithm is not exactly the same, it's close enough. And my understanding is that some of the tweaks in the firmware are already being done. And so they'll be able to move over to our server boxes out there that do both ETC and ETH right now, in anticipation of that. So I suspect you're going to see a huge influx of miners going to ETC. So what you can make today in a coin, you know, how many coins that you get your payout monthly, weekly, however you want to measure that, is going to be a lot different when that happens, right? And that holds through for everything. So all that hash power is going to go out to the landscape, and you're going to have to figure out where that's going to go. So what I suspect is a lot of ups and downs. I even think you're going to start seeing maybe even some of the algorithms crash because they never thought they'd get this kind of, you know, traffic. Who knows, right? But I think the best bet, at least for me, is to use something like NiceHash and go off in day one. Let that happen there. Up to that, I'm mining ETH as much as I can. However, I am taking, so I have a couple old rigs, or I call them old because they've got older cards in, like 380s, 580s. And when I say 580s, I mean 584 gig cards. So I use those to mine the altcoins, right? So I'm mining right now. I mine because I do live in Florida. So right now, even though it's March, it is like summer out here right now. It's 90 degrees. I mine Ravencoin at night. I have in HIVEOS, you can schedule your flight sheets. And if you want to know how to go do that, let me know, and I'm happy to do a short video on that. It's real easy, and it's fantastic. I even use it just to reboot. Every so often I got one rig that the temperature become invalid, and I find if I reboot at a certain period of time every day, I don't have a problem. So what I'm doing then is I mine Ravencoin at night when it's cooler out, and then that moves over to Ergo. So I'm dual mine there. And then I have my other rig, which is a bunch of 380s. That's mining Flux. Now, granted, I don't get a lot of Flux, but I'm just hodling the Flux. I just let it sit there, and if Flux becomes the next coin that becomes very profitable, I already have a head start. If it's Ergo, I already have a next start. I don't think it's going to be Raven. I just don't see it. I love Raven. I love the decentralized everything. I love what Raven's project's all about. I don't think they're there yet, right? I think the maturity still needs to happen a little bit more in the algorithm and what, you know, to get more business into it, right? But I can definitely see ETC. I can definitely see Flex, but who knows? I mean, there's also Feral, right? Now, at one point, I was going to try to go and get a node up in Feral. I was trying to mine enough Feral to go do that. And I don't know. I'm almost there. I don't see Feral being that next coin. I could be wrong. So I don't know. But that's what I'm doing. So I'm mining as much ETH as I can right now. I did start a couple weeks ago. I am taking some of it, and I am going to push some of that ETH into Bitcoin anytime. So if I think ETH is at a good price, I will sell it, hold it into my crypto wallet as, you know, just cash in my account, my exchange. And then if I see it dip in Bitcoin, I go and I buy some more Bitcoin, and I kind of like try to dollar cost average into my Bitcoin that way. And that's where I'm putting some of my profits. I do take out electric bill, my electric, and any kind of maintenance that I have for my rigs. I am not buying more cards. I did just buy a 380, and you can see that video online. I did that because I wanted to try taking 2 380s offline. I haven't done it yet, and try to do solo mine some ETC, see if I can grab some blocks before the June halving. But I look at ROI a little different, and this might be back from when I still do a lot of investing in the stock market and hedge funds. I did a lot of work for hedge funds and things like that. So what I am doing is, as I mine some of the altcoins or possible future, you know, future coins that would be profitable after post ETH, I am looking out on the market for graphic cards. Now, I said I'm not looking at buying more, but if I can ROI it in a 30-day window, I will. Now, remember, I ROI a little different, right? I ROI based on the farm, not on the individual card. My farm is 100% paid for. And even maintenance-wise, so if I lose a riser, PCIe adapter, cable, anything, I have spares. All that is ROI. It's all been paid for. So if I can come across right now, it's almost like an addiction, right? How much more hash power can I get? If I can get some 1660 supers, which have been dropping in price left and right, I mean, even the scalpers aren't anywhere near where they used to be. But every so often, you know, EVGA's got stuff on their store. Even my local Best Buy lately has been having some good deals. So if I can ROI a card in 30 days or less, then I may pick it up, right? If I can get that good of a deal. Because if I can keep mining what I'm doing right now for ETH, and then start hodling even more of where I think the possibilities of coins that would be profitable, looking at that. And so one of the questions I did get the other day, somebody had tweeted me directly and said, hey, how do you find a coin that might be a possibility? And they named a couple that they were looking at, and I said, here's the problem with that. That's the coins they were looking at, and I don't want to mention them because I don't want everybody to go flock and thinking that's the coin to be. You need to make that decision yourself. But here's my process of finding these. There's certain boxes that must tick, right? Is it decentralized? Is the algo, stable? Development team, is it there? Is it in place? Are they active? Is the community active? Is there contracts on the chain? What's the chain? How's the chain being adapted? Is it people accepting the chain? Are companies, other, industries, are they looking at using the chain? And then most importantly, is there exchanges for the chain? Because the hardcore miners, yes, we can figure out how to get a coin changed and swapped and through different bridges and stuff like that. But the average miner, the place where the average person needs an exchange, right? They need Crypto.com, Coinbase, Binance, something that FTX, they need something to be able to move that around, right? They either want to bring it right into their fiat wallet, or they want to be able to then buy something else or buy Bitcoin. That's where I think is a key, right? So if there's no exchange, if there's no like Zelcore, so Flex, I use Zelcore. Ergo, that's my biggest beef right now with Ergo, for instance. You got to use whatever web browser or Chrome browser that you got to use to do that, and then you got to swap that beforehand, get that into something. So Ergo's kind of like not on my top 5 right now. It's in there. I'm looking at it, but you need something that is accepted on major exchanges like Crypto.com, Coinbase, Binance, FTX, something, Southern Exchange, something that where you can bring that coin in and get that to your bank account at that point. That's everyday acceptance then. That's where I look at it. I'll do another video kind of where I think price is going, because I do see there's a lot of people out there talking about price, and we're going to moon that. I've got a whole nother, I'll do another short video on that, otherwise this will be way too long. All right, God bless. Have a profitable day and stay safe.